Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Game Changer Mentality Podcast. I am your host, Rodney Flowers, bestselling author, keynote speaker, and resilience trainer. And as always, I am excited for another show today. I have someone in the studio with me that is very dear to me. I love this woman. She is responsible for some of the transformation that I have experienced in my life as an author. And you know what? If it wasn't her, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be doing what I am doing right now. She has literally come in and showed me some things. She's taught me some things, and she's allowed me to expand, to change the game in my life, to become a better person and serve people with what I have, with the life that I have, with the experiences that I've been through. She's shown me how to turn it into a business. She's shown me how to be an international bestseller. An international bestseller, something that I didn't never think that I would become an international best-selling author. Miss Peggy McColl is with me here today. She's a New York Times best-selling author, and she calls herself the bestseller maker. And I know there's a lot of people out there that want to write books, and she believes that everyone has a book in them, right? And so listen up, sit back, relax, listen to the knowledge that this woman has. She has a story of her own that I'm sure she's going to share. And if you are looking to write a book, if you're looking to get that book out, and you're looking to become that person that you know you can be and serve the world, I'm going to tell you there's going to be some good information in this interview for you today. So sit back and listen, and welcome Miss Peggy McColl to the Game Changer Mentality Podcast. Welcome, Peggy.
Thanks, Rodney. Oh my goodness, with an intro like that, I can't wait to hear what I have to say.
Oh, I'm sure you're gonna live up to it, Peggy. How are you?
Oh, absolutely incredible. That was such a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. And what I love, what you're saying, Rodney, is game changer. If anyone knows how to change the game for the better, it's you, because you've done it in your own life and you're definitely helping others do it as well. And I love that you stepped up into the role that you're doing right now in this world, and that you've chosen, you really chose to help elevate other people's lives, to help people experience more fulfillment and greater joy and a greater sense of peace in their life. And the reason why you're doing that is because obviously it's something in your heart, it's close to your passion, but you've done it yourself. And, Bob Proctor often says the following quote. He says, "By their fruits, you will know them." And what does he mean by that? He means by their results. If you want to know what someone's like, just look at their results and look at yours. Like when I see what you've accomplished, I remember when you decided to write your first book, and bam, you got into the work and you created a phenomenal product, and then next thing you know, another book and now you're doing speaking all over the world, and you've got podcasts, and it's incredible what you've done. And what I want everyone to know as you're listening to this is knowing is not enough. And there's actually a quote from Bob Proctor about that as well. Knowing is such an important part of success, but it really comes down to the understanding and the application. And that's what you do, Rodney, is you help people understand it and you help people apply it into their life, because that's where the game gets changed, is right there in the application of these wise thoughts.
Absolutely, Peggy. And I wanna, as we go into this interview, I wanna go back to the beginning when I met you at the very first Bob Proctor event that I had attended, and you were on stage and you had delivered a wonderful message, and you had an offer about, for people that wanted to write their book. And I just couldn't wait to tell you my story. I'm like, yeah, I'm a candidate for that. I want to tell you my story. And as soon as we met, it was a connection right up front, and you was like, oh yeah, that's a perfect story. You want to get that out? You want to be an international bestseller? We can make that happen. No hesitation, no hesitation at all. But I tell you, I got your form, and I've never told you this. I got your form. I went back to my room that night and I contemplated, because I had never spent that much money, on a program. I went to college and everything like that, but this was different. I was a little out of my element here. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was a pivotal moment for me, because I was hesitating. I was afraid. I was excited. And I went back and forth. I didn't get any sleep I didn't know what I was going to do. I would fill out the form. I had filled out the form. I hadn't put my credit card information in there yet. And I was like, what am I going to do? It can turn out this way. This could be a total failure. I could waste my money. It may not happen. I mean, I was just all over the place. But then I sucked it up and I said, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to make it happen. And I did it, and man, it's just been great, since then. And then that one decision really changed the game for me in my life. And if I had not made that decision, taking that plunge, I probably wouldn't be doing this at all.
I hear you. I
all.
hear you.
So,
It's so true. It's so true. Like if like when I think I'm listening to what you talk, and I'm thinking about the moments in my life where I felt that fear and the resistance, right? And that's just paradigms. That's all that is. That's just paradigms holding you back. And having that experience of the terror barrier, it's like the point where you break through, or it's like you go for it anyway. You make a decision like, I'm going for it anyway. And it's at that point, it's not that the fear disappears, because the fear may still be there, but it's like you've got to get past it. You got to recognize for what it is and be willing to take the risk. And you did. And I'm sure you're glad you did now.
I am. And to the audience that's listening, I mean, that's how we expand. You talked about the terror barrier, and there's different, I guess, phases or experience of that. Once you may have that terror barrier, that fear about something that you want to do, just like I did. But once you get beyond that and you span, there's yet another level of that. Because as I continue to grow and expand and expand in my business, I've experienced that multiple times over. It really doesn't go away, but I understand that process. I understand the feelings, and that's really what courage is. That's feeling the fear, but doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So how are things going in your life, Peggy? What new things, what new exciting things are going on with you?
Wow, I have so many exciting things that are going on in my life right now. First of all, I wake up every morning with this complete, overwhelming, wonderful feeling of gratitude. Just gratitude to live this extraordinary life, to be surrounded by so many amazing people, to have the love of my life in my life. That's my husband, Denny, to have such a wonderful relationship with my son and my grandson. And for me, family is priority number one. That's absolutely my priority. And so when I start that gratitude experience in the morning, I'm thinking about them first and how happy I am for them and how happy and healthy they are. And then, the blessing that I have, and ask my husband this, like I say to him every day, probably multiple times a day, I love what I do. I love what I do. I love what I do. And it's probably to a point where it's like, yeah, I've heard that before, honey, but he never says that. And how he usually responds is he'll say something like, do you know how rare that is? To really love what you do. And I mean, I believe I'm here to serve a purpose, and that is to help other people grow, to help contribute to other people's lives in a positive and a beneficial way. And so everything that I do in my life and in my business really comes down to getting connected and reconnected to, is this in alignment with who I am? Is this in alignment with what my purpose is here on this earth? And it's usually, I don't even have to ask the question. It's a quick decision, an easy decision. And so I'm really here to help other people bring out the best in them, to help them bring out the best in them that's going to positively impact another as well. And so I continue to serve people in the way that I do, and through my programs, whether I'm working with entrepreneurs, helping them grow and build their business, or whether I'm helping authors complete their fabulous work and bring it to the world and create success, or whether it's helping people create a better consciousness so that their programs, which are their paradigms and their belief systems, are stronger and more supportive and help them attract to them everything that they desire. And so I would say back in the 80s, you probably weren't even born then.
I was.
Oh, yeah?
I was here. Yeah.
All right, good. So back in the 80s, I remember having the experience of, I was walking down Yonge Street in Toronto, And I had been studying Bob Proctor at that point for a few years. And not only Bob Proctor, but Bob Proctor would recommend Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, and
Sure.
Dr. Maxwell Maltz and Psychocybernetics and Dr. Wayne Dyer and all these fabulous speakers. And I'd been studying the material for years. And I remember walking down Yonge Street and just stopping in my tracks. I was in Toronto, and just looking up and thinking, one day I'm going to be working in this industry. I don't know what I'm going to be doing or how I'm going to be doing it, but one day I'll be working in this industry. And that may not seem like a big deal, but if we just go back like a few years before that, I was suicidal. I mean, I really didn't have a will to live. I was miserable. You would not have wanted to be around me. And my life was extremely unhappy, and everything in it was unhappy as well. And so, I completely transformed. When you talk about game changing, and I know in your experience, you had a phenomenal life altering experience. And, sometimes when people are physically, challenged, we can see what their challenges are, but when they're emotionally challenged, we can't see it. We can't always see what's going on inside. And I was like beaten up emotionally and psychologically. And so, being that person that was, going through all that challenge, I had to completely and utterly change my life. But I made a decision to do that. And the first decision was, I'm going to change my own life. And once I started to experience the positive change, then I made a new decision, and that was to help other people. And as I said, I didn't know what it was going to look like. And it wasn't until 1994 that I actually incorporated my company. I began to work on my own and do this work that I'm doing today. But I stay and remain really open. I stay open to the universe, and I let the universe show me. And it's like I have a high intuitive sense, and everyone has that faculty. It's something that we all have. And I just allow my intuition to guide me into what am I doing? What am I doing now? What am I doing next? And how will I serve? And I think if we get really connected to why is it that we think that we're here on this earth, and there's not an answer that somebody else can give you. You got to find it inside yourself. It's within your own soul. It's your own spirit. What is it? Like, what's that reason? Once we get clarity on that, and then we choose to live our life like that on purpose, wow, amazing things can happen. And I don't think that we're here on this earth so that we can get. I think we're here on this earth to give. We get from the giving. And as Bob says, generosity is the first law of prosperity. And you're an extremely generous person, Rodney. Like, I remember one time, I was at one of my own events, and I was about to go up to the front of the room, and I thought, I should really have somebody here who can introduce me. And I said to the audience, I said, I wonder if anyone here would like to volunteer to introduce me. And bam, your hand went up, and you're like, yeah, like almost racing to the stage. And I know that's a challenge, right? But you got up there, and not only did you volunteer to do that, but your opening was like, wow, incredible. I mean, you had the audience awe-inspired. And I could see that you are very, very much the same on purpose, living to give. Living to Give. That'd be a great title for a book. Living to Give.
I like that.
I got to check to see if that URL is available. And, speaking of that, I say that kind of in jest, but I'm going to write that down. But and that's me. Like, you got to be an action taker. When you get inspired with ideas, you got to take action.
I love that.
Living to give. Living to give.
As you write that down, I completely agree with you. Life is a gift. And then the question is, what are you going to give back to life as a result of you being here, right?
Oh,
and I think once you have that understanding, things can, like you said, become more clearer, and you have a greater understanding and a higher awareness of your being here, because it truly is a gift. None of us asked to be here, but yet we are here. And the funny thing about it is, we all have desires. Like, I don't know anyone that doesn't have a desire, and we all have different abilities, right? And as a result of that, I think once you understand that your being here is a gift, and you have the responsibility, right, to give back. Well, how do I do that? Well, you look inside. What is it about you that's unique? What is it about you that can serve other people? What is it about you that can make a difference. And when you have that level of mindset, which is a game changing mentality, you start to see how you can benefit the world, how you can serve the world. And a lot of times that's where a lot of answers are. We are seeking answers,
So true.
to problems, to challenges, to situations. But once you come into that awareness, you begin to understand your authority,
Yes.
understand your power, understand your purpose. And man, you can just walk in a new light when you are in that level of awareness.
I agree. There's an audio that I listen to often, and it's an audio, it's about 60 minutes long. It's by Dr. Joseph Murphy. And if someone's interested, they get it right off Amazon. And it's called Master Key to Wealth. And in that, Dr. Joseph Murphy says the words, he says, you have a tremendous debt to pay. And I remember the first time I heard that, I thought, tremendous debt to pay. That doesn't sound good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
Right.
who the hell wants debt to pay, right? And so, he explains a little bit further. I don't remember verbatim the exact words that he uses, but my interpretation of that is just what you said. It's about giving back to life. And we've been given this great gift of life. And most people are sitting here like this. Grease my palm, right? Like, what are you going to give me? And that's not the way it works. And those people are miserable, right? They're very unhappy, and they're blaming the government, or they're blaming their parents, or they're blaming somebody. I mean, they're just sitting there like that. And that's just not going to end well for anybody.
Right.
And so the tremendous debt to pay is, we've been given this. It's like that. Quite often I'll say, give thanks for the gift of this new day. Like, this is a blessing. We woke up this morning, right? Like, we woke up, and not everybody gets to wake up every morning. And we've got so much to be grateful for, so much to be grateful for. There's always something to be grateful for. Think about Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book, Man's Search for Meaning. And here's a guy who was in a Nazi concentration camp. And he just decided, nobody's going in my mind. These people do not have control over what my thoughts are. I'm going to manage them. I'm going to choose to go to different places in my mind. And so he found something good in that experience. And not only did he find something good in that experience for himself personally, but he shared it with the world. And we're still talking about that to this day. And that book was released decades and decades ago. So, I think it's a good idea. Like, I often tell people, when you wake up in the morning, just ask yourself, how will I serve today? How will I? Not how can I, how will I? Will I presumes you're going to do it. And how will you serve people in a way that's beneficial, that's going to help? And it may be something like opening a door for someone that's not expected. It could be one of those drive-through lines you're going through, and you're buying a coffee, and you say, hey, I want to pay for the guy behind me. That's a little surprise and nice thing to do. I mean, it's just a way to operate, like to find a way that, how can I help somebody today? How can I give? How can I be of service? How can I, bring more sunshine or bring more light into somebody's life? And I think that's a modus operandi, a way to be every day.
And that reminds me of flow. When you are operating in that way, it opens up the flow, because there's a
So
the
true.
word reciprocity.
Yes.
The power of reciprocity. And when you're not giving, but you're just looking to give, then you haven't really opened up that flow for things to flow unto you. Because see, the way you start that process is by giving. And the same person that you give to might not be the one that gives back to you, but what you've done is you started that flow, and you're in that cycle of giving and getting, giving and receiving. And so if you want to initiate that, you initiate that flow by first giving.
Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true. It's such a, we're talking game-changing stuff, right? Could you imagine how your life would shift? Like, for someone that's just not in that space, but decided, hey, I'm going to try that on for size.
Sure.
And just see how that works. That would be an absolute game changer. And I'm going to be really honest with you. It's not the way most people operate in this world. And it's not the way I operated in this world for many, many years, until I really got it and really understood it. And I'm not saying I got it perfect now either, because sometimes I'll go back to those places of of expectation or just something that doesn't feel good, or frustration or disillusionment or whatever. Everybody has that. But we've got to build our emotional muscles so strong that we can bounce back fast. Like I've heard Bob Proctor, I mentioned him already a couple times. And of course, he's been my greatest mentor. He's a wonderful friend. And that's how you and I met. And, Bob will say these words on stage. He'll say something like, he'll be talking about paradigms, and he'll say, I have paradigms too. And I know there's a lot of people in the audience that just don't even hear those words. They dismiss it because they don't think. They think he's superhuman, right? That he's, he's got some kind of and sometimes he'll say, I'm not from here, kind of like jokingly. And he is from here. He is human, and I've seen him go through his challenges. But he does have paradigms, and we all have these paradigms. We just got to recognize them for what they are, and when they reveal their ugly heads, the ugly ones, that is, we just got to be ready to switch, right? Change it, change what we're looking at. Focus over here.
And it's dealing with the programming. We've been programmed that whenever we receive, we're fulfilled, or we look for that level of fulfillment. But what I've found, especially in this work, but that's not where the true fulfillment comes from. And it's not even in the money that you get. And a lot of people don't realize this until they get a lot of money, and then they're like, oh, I'm not fulfilled. But the true fulfillment comes in giving, comes in serving, comes in fulfilling that purpose, that thing that you're designed to do. I've known people that make a lot of money, and they're very, famous people. A lot of people recognize them. But inside, when they look themselves in the mirror, they're unfulfilled. And that's the greatest feeling that you can have, is when you are doing what you've been put on this earth to do. And it's not for you. That's the beauty of it. I love the universe, because the thing that you have, the gift that you have, it is not for you. And so when you're looking for the money, you're looking for fulfillment, you're looking for an extraordinary life, it comes from identifying what it is about you that you can give the world, because there is no greater feeling than that. And I feel that sometimes, at least for me, the challenges, the resistance, the things that show up in our lives, they're little cues to kind of get us to look deeper, to kind of change our mindset towards things, to get our attention on what's really important. It's sort of a guide to, hey, have you tried this? What if you thought about, this way, thought about, the inner parts of you? Let's not think in external. Let's start looking internal. Because if you can interview countless people that have gone through, serious challenges, very insurmountable types of obstacles. They've overcome them by finding their inner self, finding their inner place of peace, finding their inner gift, that inner power. And that's really where it is. It's not really, like you said, having your hand out, sitting there with your hand out, give to me. These people have found so much in just looking within and expanding themselves within and giving of themselves.
It's so true. Last night I got a package delivered to the house yesterday, and I opened it up last night, and this necklace that I'm wearing, you can see it's a heart, and it actually has, you can open it. So there's a place to put a picture in here as well. This was given to me by a woman. Let's see, I didn't put a picture in it yet. I just got it last night. I put it on this morning. Nice. But this woman had sent it to me, and she lives in England, and she wrote her novel. And she was inspired. She saw me at one of Bob Proctor's events at the Paradigm Shift. And of course, you've been to the Paradigm Shift before, but she was not at the event, but she streamed it. So she watched it from the comfort of her home. And she said that when she saw me present, she was inspired to write her book as well. And she went ahead and wrote it. It's a novel called Homewrecker. And her pen name is A.L. Francis. So I'll give her a little plug here, which I'm sure she'll appreciate. But the point is that she sent this letter. Actually, she sent the shoebox with a copy of her book and with this lovely necklace in it. And she sent 2 shoeboxes because she wants me to give one to Bob as well. And in it, she said, as a result of what I've studied from you and from Bob Proctor, my life has totally changed. And she shared a little bit about her background, which was horrific. I mean, horrific. I'm not going to share it because it's maybe private and she doesn't want people to know about it. But I mean, she said in the letter that she wrote to me that she wanted to, she wanted to be real honest and transparent and share what had gone on in her life, starting from a young girl, which is stuff that a young girl should have never been exposed to and a young girl should have never gone through. I mean, absolutely hair curling, just horrific stuff. But what I want to say is that she went in and found her inner strength as well. There was something inside her that knew that's not the way a little girl should be treated. That's not what should be going on in a little girl's life. And she made a decision that she's not going to have her children's life, because she had 3 children when she was a teenager, that she's not going to have her children go through what she went through, and has totally transformed her life and has remarkable relationships with her 3 children, and they're her biggest fan and things like that. But to get that letter, to know that someone decided to take some action, that someone has decided that they're going to make a difference in this world, and that my work and that Bob Proctor's work, and I'm certain your work, Rodney, is impacting these people, man, that's heartwarming. And, I had told my husband about it at dinner last night, and I said, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, to hear those stories, to get those messages. And he's like, yeah, I get it. Like, Denny totally gets it. He's so supportive with all of this. And you've met Denny as well. He's such a kind-hearted man. And that's, that's not why we do what we do, is so that I can get a letter or get a gift from a client. That's not why we do what we do. But I'll tell you something, those are the surprisingly wonderful rewards that come as a result of it. And that's the way the universe works. You put out good, you will get good back. You put out bad, you're definitely going to get bad back. So we got to be focused on putting out the good.
Absolutely. I was at CEO Space about a month ago, and I was sitting in on a class with Dr. David Gruder. He's a psychologist, and he was teaching a class, and he was talking about wealth and how to accumulate wealth. And it was something that he said in that class that really stuck with me. And I want to share that with you, because he said a lot of people think that money creates wealth. He said, but it's all wrong. That's not how the formula goes. He said, wealth creates money. And so I thought about that. I'm saying, what do you mean by wealth? So he broke it down a little further, and he started talking about the air that we breathe. He started talking about the gifts that we have. He started talking about the fact that we have a mind and we can think for ourselves. He started talking about the mental faculties that we have. He started talking about all the intangibles that we have, that the universe has given us, our creativity, which is limitless, right? That is the wealth. And so, a lot of times we're out here, we're looking for wealth, we're looking for answers. And it's like you said, whenever you can find that inner peace, find that inner strength, realize the wealth that you have, you can create anything. I mean, it's so game changing. You can create the life that you want. And I know with you, you have the life script. We haven't talked about the life script and how we use that creativity. How do we use that ability that we have? And I just that saying that statement has really stuck with me, because it was really game changing for me to know that wealth creates money. It's not the other way around.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a really cool idea. And speaking of game changers, my Power Life script is a game changer. It's a total game changer. Do you still do it?
That. Oh yeah, I still have my Power Life skill. I'm not getting rid of that. Yeah, I have things posted up on my window, my mirror in my bathroom.
Right on.
All kinds of stuff up there. Yeah, that I look at every single day. Absolutely. Yeah. So why don't you talk about that? Because that was game changer for me.
Absolutely. Okay, so if we look at the human being, like us, the way we are, we're programmed, right? We're programmed the way we are. And a lot of our conditioning comes from childhood. So when your parents tell you you're so smart and you're so wonderful and you're so incredible, and they tell you over and over and over again, like to the point of it just gets impressed upon your subconscious mind, you believe it. And that's the way you operate, right? It's like, there's a new movie out called Think and Grow Rich Legacy. And the story is told about Edison, right? And his, have you seen that movie, Rodney?
I have not. No, not
No.
yet.
Okay. So the story goes like this, a little scene in the beginning of the movie where Thomas Edison had gone to school, and he was sent home with a letter from his school. So he gets home and he hands the letter to his mom, and he's just a young boy at the time. And his mom reads the letter, and it's basically a letter from the school saying, there's no way your son can learn, so we don't want him to come back anymore. And that's not what the mother says to the little boy. So the little boy's sitting there going, well, Mommy, what does the letter say? And she says, well, the school feels that you're so much more intellectually advanced than all the other children in the school, that they feel that you'd be better served if you were homeschooled because you're so much further ahead. And so she told him a completely different story to what this letter said. And look what Thomas Edison went on to do. I mean, he invented the incandescent light, right? And so many other things as well. That's not the only thing that he had accomplished. But what she did was she implanted an idea in his mind that created an identity that he believed in, and he went on to create extraordinary things. So if we think about our mind and how we program it and how we've been programmed as a child, and that's like for me, when I was 19 and I met Bob Proctor and I was in this absolute messy place emotionally, I had to reprogram my mind, and it took time. So after studying Bob for several years, I reached a point where I thought, I need to embed more positive thoughts and ideas into my mind consistently so that I can really embody the feelings of living my ideal life. So I decided I'm going to script my life. I'm going to write out a script of my life as if I'm living it and it is fulfilled. And I did this when I was single. I was a single mom at the time, and I was struggling financially to some degree. And my confidence wasn't the greatest at the time, and I still had this belief within me that I wasn't worthy of love. So I knew that in order to have the life that I desired, that there were necessary beliefs to have, right? Beliefs like I am worthy of love. I'm a very loving person. I give love and I receive love. And that I'm wonderfully successful, and that I'm doing work that's deeply meaningful in this world, and that I'm recognized for it. And so I wrote out this script of what my life would be like and what I needed to believe as if it was real right now, present tense. I, Peggy McColl, am so happy and so grateful that I lived the most extraordinary life. I love my life completely, and every part of my life is magnificent. And so I wrote it out, and then I recorded it just like that with all the enthusiasm in the world. And there are points in my life script where I go, woohoo! And I laugh and I'm happy, and I'll sing and things like that. And so I record it and I listen to it, and I listen to it every day. Now I listen to it multiple times a day. Wow. And my script is about 23 minutes long. So it's a little long, and it just became longer and longer as time went on, because I'd be like reading from The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard, and he would say something, or I'd be watching a podcast online, or I'd be listening to an audio, and I'd hear something like, your success is absolutely guaranteed. And I thought, ooh, I like that. Or you really matter in this world. Ooh, I like that. You'd hear things or read things like that really resonates with me. And when my friend Gay Hendricks said that he and Katie had the affirmation, we always have plenty of money to do whatever we want to do. I always have plenty of money to do whatever I want to do. And so I would just add to my script and add to my script. And so that is really the one thing that's changed my life. That's been the big game changer for me you've got to script it and make sure that it's all positive words only. So you wouldn't use words like debt, or I no longer, hate people, or whatever. Like, you don't use any negative words whatsoever. So it would be things like, I'm abundantly rich. My net worth is in excess of, whatever that number is. And so you just only focus on the positive, only focus on the positive, only focus on the positive. And then you invest some time. There's going to be a little bit of time in order to really create this and craft this, so that you can see, like, I pull in my driveway and I look at my home and I feel such an immediate sense of gratitude to live in this beautiful place. I walk around the hall and look at the high ceilings and just am amazed with, like that kind of thing. You got to see the pictures, right? You got to see it. My husband and I walk we go for walks and we always hold hands together. And, one of the things that I say in my life script is that my husband and I laugh a lot together. Danny and I are always laughing. And it's not that we're both incredibly funny or anything like that, but we're just always laughing. And even when we get out of a car, like he opens the door for me and we get out of the car and he grabs my hand, it puts a smile on my face because like, that's in my script. That's in my script. Like I scripted that Bob Proctor has me speak at all of his events. And now I do. I speak at all of his events. And It's funny because I was speaking at his 1% club in Kona, Hawaii. And he started doing these 1% clubs, and it's quite significant investment to attend this event, and it's a limited number of people. And I had written down that I was also, speaking at that event, and I knew he had his first one coming up, and I looked at my calendar. I happened to be available, and I was waiting for the invitation. And then one day, it was a Saturday, he called me and he says, "What are you doing on these dates?" And it was the date of his 1%. I knew what he was asking, right? And I said, "Nothing that I can't change to be at the 1%. And he smiled and he's like, "Okay." He said, "You want to come?" It's like, "Yeah, I want to come." Like, I'm totally there. So I ended up going to the first one, the second one, the next one. I've been at all of them, and now I'm speaking at all of his events. But when he was introducing me at the 1% club, he was saying words that were almost verbatim what was in my script. Like, Peggy is not an employee of Proctor Gallagher Institute. She's the only person that we actually have speak at all of our events. And so he's saying these words, and I'm thinking, holy smokes, it's verbatim what I have in my Power Life script. How did he know? Right? And it was such a fun experience. And one of the things that I love about having the Power Life script is that it's easy. You push play, boom. As a matter of fact, you get in either one of my cars. I have 2 vehicles. You get in either one of my cars and it starts to play automatically. It's just automatic. I have my Bluetooth connected and it's just playing. But how much easier could it be than that, right? Like, I wrote a book with Brian Proctor called Darn Easy. And that's part of it. It's like, let's make this easy for you. This is a process that's, it's going to take you a little bit of time, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. You record it, and all you got to do is push play. And what are you doing? You're reprogramming your consciousness. You're reprogramming your subconscious mind so that you get into habitual behaviors that are more positive and progressive that will change your game. And so that's really what the Power Life script is in short version. And I don't miss a day. I listen to it every day, and I've done so for, decades, actually. Wow. And I wouldn't even think about missing a day, but it'll absolutely change your life.
What I love about this tool is that, we hear people say, we hear gurus say, you are a creative being. You are a creative being. You are a creative being. but no one really shows you how to be that creative being. How do I create what I want in my life? So I love the Power Life strip. That's why I have it, my 1-pager on my mirror in my bathroom, because that is how you do it. I know for the audience listening, you may have heard the term, energy goes where focus, energy flows where focus goes. And that's what we're talking about. It's what you're focusing on, what you're putting in, what are you thinking about the majority of the time. That's what you're creating. And this is a mechanism, a tool that you can use to recreate your life. That's a game changer.
Yeah, baby.
That is a game changer.
I love that you mentioned, actually, Rodney, I just want to stop for a moment. You mentioned about on your mirror in your bathroom. That is a phenomenal place to have it. I was actually teaching a webinar yesterday on behalf of Bob, actually. He gets me to step in and teach his webinars sometimes, which I love and I'm grateful for. And I was talking about mirror work and how valuable it is to look at yourself in the mirror, look at yourself in the eye and say affirmations. But same with feeling. Like, no amount of doing this work is going to mean diddly squat unless you attach the emotional response to it. That's why when I'm recording my Power Life script, I'm doing woohoo and yay and, stuff that causes an emotion, because you just can't help but smile when you hear that. So even saying affirmations or saying your script or whatever in front of the mirror, but do it with emotion. Now, you may want to close the door and, so nobody hears you. Like, if you're living with other people and they're there in the house, sometimes that can be a little weird. Oh, are you in the bathroom talking to yourself again? Yeah. They might even just get used to it, right? They might even try it themselves. But I think that's a very powerful thing to do. Look yourself in the eye, in the mirror, and declare, affirm.
Absolutely. I tell myself every day, great and tremendous success is your reality. It's good and amazing experience is your normal daily lifestyle. And I look at myself and I tell myself that every single day. And it's such a wonderful feeling and it sets the tone for my day. I don't go out feeling I don't know how I'm gonna do today. What's today gonna be like? I'm setting that up. I'm creating that opportunity, that possibility for my day when I do that. And so I feel good. I feel
Yeah,
good.
I
Yeah.
feel good.
So Peggy, if someone wanted to connect with you, where do they go to find you?
I'm easy to find. It's just PeggyMcColl.com, Peggymccoll.com. And there's a contact form there as well. But I mean, you want to find out what I'm doing, what I'm up to, PeggyMcColl.com is the place. But also on my website, I actually have a subscription for my morning money class. And I do these little morning money classes a couple times, sometimes a few times a week. And they're little video messages. And the reason why I decided to create them is because I know a lot of people struggle financially, and it doesn't have to be that way. There's an abundance in this universe and we're all connected to it. It's just whether somebody's crimped on the hose and they block their flow. There's an abundance there. And so I created these morning money classes a couple of years ago, actually. It's been over 2 years that I've been delivering them. There's hundreds of them. You can actually find them on my YouTube channel as well, just youtube.com/Peggy McColl. I've got a Vimeo channel. They're all there. Lots of free stuff. And that whole process of creating a Power Life script, that's also on my YouTube channel. I've got an 8-part webinar series. It's all free that people can go and they can access that. So I want to help people and I want to help them consistently. I would suggest register for the Morning Money class so that you can consistently get more and more new information, freebie stuff from me.
Awesome. And what would you say to a person who's maybe has a story that they want to share and they want to write a book and they're not quite sure, how to get started, maybe they're on a budget, what would you say? Because I know there's some listeners out there that have some things that they want to share with the world. What would you
Right.
say to that person?
Well, I think that making a decision to share it with the world really starts with that, a decision. You've got to make a decision. I have found personally, I've done 13 books now, that one of the best things I ever did for my career was write a book.
Mm.
Actually, it was probably the single best thing I ever did for my career. And,
I second that motion.
yeah, you know what? And Bob Proctor says the same thing when he wrote "You Were Born Rich." He said that book has made the biggest impact on his business. So I don't think people, think, "Oh, I want to write a book to make a big impact on my business," but it does make a big impact. I mean, it can lead to multiple sources of income, but I would say that it gives a great sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. It's a definite confidence builder as well. Make the decision that you're going to do it, but I highly recommend that you get the right advice, get the right guidance, because when I wrote my first book, I was completely ignorant. I did not understand the book industry. I did not understand what it would be to be successful. And a lot of people have the same belief that you write a great book, the buyers will come. That's not the way it works. You've got to be prepared to learn how to effectively market your book and get it out there in the world. And that's where I come in. That's where I help people and teach people. So if you're interested, I could definitely help you with that. That's also on my PeggyMcColl.com website. Everything's there for authors. And I work with all kinds of authors, fiction authors, nonfiction authors, every version of authorhood. And I work with people sometimes just to get their programs done and bring them out to the world and then get their books. So whatever it is that you want to do, go there, check it out, see if it resonates with you. I love working with committed people. And that's part of what I affirm in my Power Life script as well. I attract the most amazing, wonderful, thoughtful, kind, harmonious, honest, integrous people into my world, because those are the ones that I want to serve. And because I think collectively we're here to help raise the level of consciousness, the positive consciousness in this world to make the world a better place. And so, do it. Do it.
Who are some of the people that you've worked with before?
Well, I work with, such a wide variety of authors, completely unknown authors. I remember Bruce Lipton actually came to me and took my course, and he was completely unknown. Now he's very well known. Biology of Belief is his book. He's done very well. He's speaking all over the world. I've also worked with people that are very recognized in the industry, like Wayne Dyer and Debbie Ford, who have both passed on. And Actually, another one is Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Richard Carlson, I work with him as well. And Neil Donald Walsh, Marianne Williamson. I've worked with so many extraordinary Robin Sharma authors. I've worked with Rodney Flowers, who's an amazing individual and author. And I've worked now with thousands of authors in all kinds of different genres.
And I just want to say, just a testament to you, Peggy, and the work that you do. It was a phenomenal experience. Having, not knowing anything about being an author, about writing books, about marketing books, about speaking even. I mean, we even got into some of that as well. Creating products. I'm gonna tell you, this is the go-to person. Peggy knows it all. She's the best in the business, and has a way of teaching you that's very practical, and that you can apply it, and you can get started immediately. And that's really the beauty of it all. Peggy is wonderful to work with. She has a heart for this. So if you are interested in writing a book, I would tell you to seek Peggy out, get in contact with her. And I can tell you, for me, I met Peggy, I believe I met her in July, and my book was on the market, I think 9 months after that, and it became an international best-selling book. And so that's just how fast we were able to move. And I think you've even done it faster with some people. So, get with Peggy, because, I think this is the person, this is the expert in this industry. And when it comes to writing books, marketing programs, you can't go wrong with Peggy. Cannot go wrong.
Thank you.
Peggy, as we wrap things up, is there anything else you would like to share with the audience today?
Yeah, I just want to encourage people to really invest in themselves, meaning invest the time and the energy, sometimes money as well, just to really, really work on you. And that could be involved in taking Rodney's courses. I mean, this guy knows what he's talking about. He lives it. He breathes it. I would suggest they get invested in themselves, because it can be scary. I've seen people go through that experience of the fear of, oh my God, should I do this? Should I invest this money, like you did? And you shared with us very honestly at the beginning of this call. And I have found that from my own experience, I don't tally up how much I've invested on mentoring or programs or attending courses or anything. I've never tallied it up. And I know other people do, but I'll tell you this, the return has come back multiplied, and it will. So I highly recommend that, you're watching this and you probably watched Rodney's other podcasts and whatever, and that's great, but make it a daily practice. Really commit to changing your life, to have your game changed in a very positive way. When you do, and you start today, man, the results the rewards are extraordinary. It's incredibly fulfilling. And as Rodney said earlier, you're a creator. You're also a destroyer. Deserves it. Thank you, Rodney, for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure, Peggy. Anytime. I would love to, reconnect with you again, and we have to stay connected, because you're a source of light for me, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
So there you have it, guys. Another episode of the Game Changer Mentality with Peggy McColl. This was a great interview with her, and as we wrap things up, she ended with commitment, and commitment is a game changer, and that's part of having that game changing mentality. So I really encourage you to stay committed and expand, and to look deep, find those inner gifts, find those inner things about you, those talents, those things that you can share with the world. And if you're into writing a book, if you want to write a book, please, again, seek Peggy out, because she is the person that can help you really bring your story to the world. Again, remember our website, www.rodneyflowers.com. Connect with us on Facebook. Join our community, the Game Changer Transformation Community. We would love to have you there. There's a group of people there that are game changing. They are changing the game in their life, changing the game in their community, and they can assist you with that as well. So thank you again for listening. And until next time, remember, greatness is your birthright.